अस्सलाम वालेकुम और आप देख रहे हैं एट होम जॉर्ज के साथ। Welcome back guys to एक और edition of जॉर्ज के साथ। और आज मेरा मेहमान is a बहुत अच्छा एक्टर, बहुत सबसे अच्छा RJ और मेरा दोस्त, none other than मेरा दोस्त Khalid Malik, and I'm going to bring him in. Hello, assalamualaikum Khalid, how are you?
Well, Islam, George, I'm trying to. I put on this, going with the design and the pink and so on. I thought I put on these pink flamingos just for you.
Very nice. They look very cute. So,
but am I looking pretty? Am I looking decent? I just finished my show, so I was like,
you're looking very pretty. And how did the show go?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good. Thanks.
What's it like doing the show from home?
Well, I mean, at the moment, it's a case of not much choice, but it's okay because I keep my show raw anyway. So I've got the kids waltzing in once in a while, and I'll put the mic to their mouth, and if they want to say something, they'll say something. I'll go on air, and I like it like that. I like it raw and uncut.
But you don't get Aapki Biwi coming in saying, anda chahiye, we need to get more toilet paper.
No, she's telling me now just before coming on. I said, well, I've got to go live with George. So that happens after the show. So you kind of saved me for another few minutes.
For a few minutes. But if Mahrukh wants to come on, please, she's more than welcome to join us today.
She's doing yoga.
Oh. Acha. Okay, so if you turn the camera, will we be able to see her do yoga? No. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. And
no problem.
And just wanted to sort of say, if anyone has any koi sawal Khalid ke liye, please send them in. Abi. We are live on both Facebook and YouTube, and we have बहुत international audience from the Americas, from Europe, and from the Middle East.
Really?
As well as Pakistan. Yeah. We get everybody in here.
I wonder what the situation in Europe is right now. You probably know what's happening up in Europe.
I mean, it seems to be subsiding somewhat in Italy and places, but in the UK it's still pretty bad. And in terms of the sort of peak death rates, I don't think they've reached the peak yet. And I think it's going to be in lockdown for quite a while, certainly well into May, but let's see. How are you coping with the lockdown yourself personally?
I mean, a lot of projects have been postponed, and my sanity is with my show in the morning. So I'm glad that I can do that from the house. Aside from that, I mean, we have a routine kind of planned out, and we kind of work from home. I'm working on some other ventures and so on. So that keeps me busy during the day as much as I can keep myself busy during the day, being at home. And then the 3 kids, obviously. And, I think more than anything, the kids are really feeling it. You're not being able to go out and, I don't know, grab a burger or whatever. And, you're having to stay home. And school especially. Friends. So we've had a few WhatsApp videos, especially for my daughter, because she's really feeling it and missing her friends and missing school and missing her teachers. So
I just wanted to start at the beginning a little bit. Obviously, I sort of read some of your old interviews, and it sort of seems like there was a lot of pressure for you to become, obviously, a doctor, a Punjabi doctor by your family. And am I right in thinking you tried 3 times, not only in Australia, you went to New Zealand as well. And do you think subconsciously you chose to fail because you didn't want to be a doctor?
Interesting question. Probably because biology, chemistry, physics really wasn't my thing. I struggled through a lot of those subjects in school, which are prerequisites, right? And I even got extra tuition because I needed the good marks. And maths was just, and I could still get my head around biology, but physics and chemistry. But it's just one of the prerequisites, and I just didn't do well. So I think you're right. At some subconscious level, I think I just didn't want to do it, and it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. But yeah, I never thought about it that way.
And obviously, you then broke into acting. Well, you were an account manager for an ad agency first, and then you did a diploma in acting as well, and then you sort of met this guy who sort of said, "Do you speak Hindi?" And you said, "Well, no, I speak Urdu and Punjabi."
Well, so what happened was I was working as an actor and I was doing odd jobs. Like how it is. You
Mm.
work in a call center, you work as a
Yeah, yeah.
salesman, etc., to pay your bills and do the auditions. And so there was an Indian company in Sydney, and they ran a newspaper and they were affiliated with projects that came out of India. And I remember I met the CEO and I said, I'm an actor, blah blah. And he said, well, listen, we're starting up a radio station, so do you want to, can you speak Hindi? I said, yeah, of course I can speak Hindi. What else? I said, I can speak Urdu, I can speak Punjabi, I can speak whatever language you want me to speak. It was one of those corporate buildings downtown Sydney, if you've ever been. And I went up to the 10th floor and sort of gave a little audition and started with one show and then went to 3 times a week, and I was with them for a few years.
Wow. And
Yeah.
do you think that sort of introduction to radio work, RJing, DJing, was kismet?
I think, yeah, certainly Kismet, but knowing sort of what I know now, I think because I was at a certain stage of my life where I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that entertainment was my thing. I knew television was my thing. And even then, when I was in Australia, I was getting a lot of, albeit small roles, but they were all comedic roles. Um, one of the ones that I can share is a cult comedy series out of Australia called the Fat Pizza, and Fat Pizza was just a show that took the Mickey out of um, ethnic people in Australia, the Lebanese, the Greeks, the Italians, the Indians, the Pakistanis, just took the Mickey
Doesn't
out of
sound
all of
very
them.
politically correct.
Huh?
Doesn't sound very politically correct.
Oh no, it wasn't politically correct. It was the most politically, you know, incorrect show. There was no political correctness, which is why it did so well. People just loved it. People liked that their culture was being made fun of, and so I think it was one of those. Yes, it was kismet, but I'd like to think that it was planned, not by me, but planned by a higher vibration, planned by God. I don't know, because I was at that level. I knew this is what I wanted. So whatever it is that came my way, I just accepted. And when radio
Mm.
started, I didn't think it was going to be anything. To be honest, I just thought, well, okay, here's interesting. It's something that I can do, and I can do well, and I did. And I thought I thought I could do this. And then when I started to enjoy it, then I went and did like a certification in radio presenting because I really enjoyed it. And I thought, well, maybe I can do something with this. And that became what I became known for when I came to Pakistan.
Do you think it has limited the roles that you've been offered in an acting capacity in Pakistan?
Initially, did you see, because I was doing a show in English, and I continue to do a show in English. And initially, a lot of people would say, "Yeah, but your show is in English. Can you speak Urdu?" And I can. Um, so initially, again, um, the roles that I was getting were comedic roles.
Mm.
Maybe it was my face. I'm not sure, but I, it
Don't
was
say that, Khalid.
maybe it was my nose. I have a Greek nose, right? Roman nose, and a Punjabi nose, right? So खड़े खड़े नक्शे तुम्हारे कुछ ज़्यादा ही खड़े नक्शे ना. And so I started doing comedic roles, and I think what was on my side was that I was working with directors that were good directors, um, for me it became, it was like, okay, Khalid comes to set, he does his work, and he leaves,
Mm.
and that's how I am. I'm very passionate about my work. I go in and I do my work, and I come
Yeah,
back.
you're very professional. Yeah.
So yeah, so and then the serious roles started happening, and that was good because I was being pigeonholed into comedy, and then the sort of more serious roles came in, and then by serious, I don't know what happened, but people thought I could make a good villain, and so I became the villain in a few projects. So and I enjoyed that, to be honest.
I was chatting with an actress the other day, and I said, you know, what do you enjoy more, the villainous roles or the hero or the heroine roles? I think the villainous roles are far more interesting because they're usually more nuanced and complex, and I find the way that the heroes or heroines are written, certainly in Desi dramas, can be quite sort of bland and one-dimensional.
I agree. Yeah, you can get away so much with you can even maybe get away with a little bit of bad acting. You're the
Yeah,
villain.
yeah,
You don't know. So you can get away with a lot. And there's a lot of room to move, and and generally the focus is on the main lead, right? So the villain, even if though you might be having an off day, but you'll still he's a villain. It's all right. So, but
yeah.
I enjoy it. For me, it's that freedom to sort of you know be this person and get in touch with my own darkness and get
Wow.
that out. But you know,
Your shadow, as not Freud, but Jung would say, the shadow.
yeah, the shadow.
Right, let's go to some questions now and see what everyone is saying. Okay, Khalid, how are you coping with the COVID-19 lockdown? I think that means
Like fun.
lockdown. Oh yeah, he goes on to say lockdown. Lockdown. How are you coping with the lockdown?
I'm coping well considering that I'm not able to get my doses of cappuccinos every day because I'll down about 3 cappuccinos a day, and although I have my own coffee, which is my saving grace, I'll brew my own coffee, but I still the good news for me is that the cafes will be opening, so they'll be delivering, but the bad news is all the coffee
When?
machines are bust.
When are they delivering?
Well, I've heard like maybe from tomorrow, or there are some that are delivering today as well.
Really?
I think so. I mean, the other day, I don't know if I can mention the names, but they got some deliveries. I think from one of the fast food chains.
Well, I know Dolman is delivering. Dolman Pizza, not Dolman.
Domino.
Domino's Pizza. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think they're delivering.
And
Okay, another question. Mohammed Sikandar Salim Khan. Khalid, can you read that?
I can.
Do you want to
um,
answer it?
I think it was. So I left to become a life coach, and I went to Bangkok, and I got my certification done. But when I came back in '91, and I felt that we were at the same wavelength. But why I left '89? Well, I think it was just maybe it was time, 10 years, and I missed my listeners a lot, which is why I decided to come back on radio after 3 or so months. But it was just, I think it was just a matter of, it was just time to move. Sometimes you get stagnant,
Yeah,
and you just need to move a little, and to sort of get unstuck just a little bit.
yeah.
So maybe that's why.
Okay, Ume Ahmed has written saying, I saw him on TV, haven't heard him on radio. He's a very good actor. Well, that's very nice.
Very sweet of you, Mehmed.
Okay. Carl Hina has written, Khalid, you're such an asset to the industry. Glad you didn't become a doctor.
How sweet. Thanks very much. Please send that message to all the production houses right now so they can have a look at it. To all the producers so they can have a look at Ina's message. But very sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Murtaza Hassan Khan says, hello, Khalid. I met you when you came to Hamdard University. Loved meeting you. You're so humble.
Thank you, Murtaza. Thanks very much, Hamdard. George, at one point, this is even when I was with 89, I was considering alternative medicine, and I even considered going to Hamdard University, see if there are any courses. But I think it was just a time, and I just decided not to. But Yeah, I think if I wasn't an actor and RJ, I think I'd be an alternative, I don't know, a naturopath or something. I wish.
A quack.
Is that what you call it? Oh,
Um, he says so humble. It's interesting. Again, I read a lot of interviews and everyone was saying very humble. Is that, are you genuinely humble, or is that something you have to, because you've had great success, but is that something you have to put on because you need to stay grounded yourself? Is that something you're trying to sort of keep your ego in check for, or is that something that you're naturally instinctively humble?
I mean, yes and no, but I think that's also instinctively. See, because when I started, George, I went through humiliation in this industry. I went through just कहते हैं ना कि रगड़ा, financial ragada, crap from producers, crap from decision makers.
But
And,
Chaz,
there's,
can you give us an example?
well,
That
I
sticks in
remember,
your brain?
well,
I mean, you don't have to mention names, but was there anything that was particularly sort of
I mean, I
difficult or
can,
humiliating?
well, I mean, I can start when I was in Australia, when I got an agent, and I remember for the first few years, like from 2000 to 2003, I was working as an extra, and I thought, here it is, my ticket to the industry. And I remember being a part of a series that was on one of the channels, and I was there in the scene as an extra, somewhere in the back, blurred out, and I was sitting there, and I saw the director coming to his assistant director, and oh, this is exciting. He's going to see my face, and he walked down, and he happened to meet the assistant director just where I was sitting in the scene, and he said to him, "Get rid of him." And that was my first sort of insight into what I got myself into, because it was just it was the way that he said it, get rid of them. It's like it was that these guys are a burden on me, get rid of them, we don't need them anymore, they're dispensable. And it was just humiliating. And when you work as an extra, it isn't, it is tough, because you're not glamour. What glamour? You get a very early call time. You get put into a tent with 200 other people. You sit there and you'll get called if you are lucky for that day. I was on set of Superman Returns when Brandon Routh was playing Superman, and we got thrown into a tent at Fox Studios in Sydney, and we'd have a call time of 5 a.m., 4 a.m., get into wardrobe and be in wardrobe for the entire day and into the night till about 10 p.m. And the AD would come in and pick randomly, and I'd try to work my way through the crowd to the front so the AD could see me and pick this brown boy. And they did actually. I was in a scene with Brandon Rao. They got cut at the end. So I kind of did that kind of work. But and then coming to Pakistan, the day that I was flying out to Pakistan, there was a director from Pakistan in Sindhi, and she met me and she said, "You're not going to get work. You don't have the chocolate boy looks. You don't have the look to make it. It's going to be very difficult for you." The night I was flying out, and I packed everything up in Australia,
Oh,
and I got yeah, and I got here, and that was with me, right? And then I was working for one of the music channels as a VJ. I did an audition, and we were going through the audition, and the guy said, "You've got too much hair in your arms. You're too hairy in your arms." I said, "What?" And so these kinds of things, and even recently, a good director said, "Tum kabhi hero nahi ban sakte. You're not hero material." So there is still that, there is that um,
and
attitude.
how have you been able to develop a thick skin? Do you take it, or do you still take that personally?
I mean, there are times, admittedly, George, I'm human. I do take it personally, because I know what I'm capable of. Some might say, "Well, that's just you're just blowing your own trumpet." I might be, but I've also worked with some great directors and had some great roles. So proof is in the pudding, I think. Um, but I do take it personally. Sometimes I do, and it does get to me sometimes, and the family helps with that, and the family keeps me grounded too. And I think I take it personally sometimes because I'm very passionate about what I do, and I've seen so many bad days And so when I'm thankful for the good days, and it's because of that humiliation. When I meet young boys and girls, and they say we want to become models, we want to become actors, my first line to them is, this is going to be the most demoralizing industry
Mm.
that you can think of if you want to be a part of this industry. So if you're prepared for that, come on right in.
Yeah.
Because just be aware that you will be punched. Your ego will be punched every single day. So if you can handle it, come on in.
Let's go back to the questions. Annie Bumbia. Sorry, I hope I'm pronouncing that, Annie, right. Oh my, I'm a huge fan. And Sonis, my son, it's good to see Khalid Malik. I miss his birthday wishes on the morning shows while I used to drive my son to school.
Thanks,
Okay.
Annie. But so I still do the birthday wishes, but just on FM 91. So I
F
still
he's
do
now
the
on FM
yeah.
91. You have to change the dial from
Just
City
FM.
FM.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I don't get into trouble for that. Um, right. Khalid was outstanding in Baghi. His and Saba's relationship in the serial symbolized such a pure friendship. Baghi's cast was amazing. Khalid, Saba, Ali Kazmi, Saba, Faisal. Would love to see this lot collaborate again. Yeah, I mean that was your one of your biggest hits, wasn't it, Baghi?
For sure. I mean,
That really
it,
puts you on the map.
I think it did. And Farooq Rind, who's the director, again, he is my favorite director. Well, not because he cast me for Baghi, but even before he cast me, he had me played my first villainous role that got me nominated for a Hum Award a few years before that. And he's one of those directors that can see through an actor and knows the range of an actor. And I got cast for Baghi initially, and then I wasn't doing Baghi because there was a date clash. So I actually wasn't doing it. And they started shooting it with someone else, the character that I was playing. And it's only a week later that I got a call back saying, "Listen, it's not working out with the person that we're doing it with. So can you come back? Let's sort the dates out." And that's what happened. And Sabah and I think it wasn't before a day before that I went on set that I knew what I was doing. I didn't know what I was getting into. And then on the day of the shoot, the first day, I got the script on the first day. I didn't get the script beforehand. And I was briefed on the first day. So and Sabah, as good an actor that she is also equally a team player. And she recognized that this is only going to work if people work together as a team, and she kind of took me on board as well, and because it could have gone the other way, but she was there and we worked together, and obviously we were very close because of the relationship that these two characters have, and so that did bring us close together, which is why that rapport was there too on screen.
And how important for actors is that sort of collaborative process? I mean, we've seen actors who have been married in real life who have no chemistry on screen, and then you see actors who supposedly hated each other on set, but actually have great chemistry on screen. How important is it?
It is important, but I mean, if you're having an off day with an actor, which can happen, uh, you know that you're not going home with them. So yeah, this is where I'm at. So you know what? Let's just do this. But it would have been extremely difficult if Sabah and I didn't get along
Yeah.
because of the nature of the two characters, and because the time that you have to spend with each other. So that does show. I think that does show on screen. But me, George, I kind of get along with most people, so having an off day with me is unlikely. But
Who is the worst person you've worked with?
the worst person that I've worked with, I'm trying to think. Um, I can't. I know you're going to tell, oh, you're not giving me names, but I actually can't think of anyone that's bad. I mean, I have walked out of set once because the director and I didn't get along,
Right.
and it was our first day of shoot, and I felt that he was being, a little. But the and the way that he was talking, and I called the production company. I said, listen, I can't work like this. And I left the set. That's only happened to me once. And obviously, I've never worked with the director since. Although there was another project that came up with the same director, but I think he didn't want me on the project. So,
Is
but,
he a big director? Is he a big director?
no, I don't think he is. No. I wouldn't put him in the top 5. No.
Right.
No.
And then, obviously, we wanted to discuss. So you then left. Obviously, just going back slightly, you left Australia, and how difficult was that, leaving your family behind and moving here? And you were married to your
My ex. Yeah.
my ex-wife. Yeah, your ex-wife. Is that? And she came along with you. What I mean, was that a difficult decision for both of you at the time, or to pack everything up and move?
I was in a lot of debt when I was in Australia. A lot of debt, and I kind of sold whatever I had to get out of debt. And when I made the decision, when you make the decision and you think, okay, this is it, things kind of come together. And I was able to sell some of my things off and get rid of the debt. And I packed my bags and I started, because of the salesman within me, I started calling decision makers here in Pakistan. Literally, George, I pick up the phone, call the likes of MTV Pakistan, the music, and say, listen, I want to speak to your programming manager. And I'm City FM 89, Munize, who was looking after City FM 89. I called randomly. I was on the freeway. I parked on the emergency lane, called FM 89 and asked, can I speak to your programming manager? It was passed to Munize, and Munize and I had a chat. And I remember when she tells me years later that we were confused. Why does this guy want to leave Australia to come to Pakistan? And a lot of
I think a lot of people are confused, watching and listening now.
And a lot of people thought, are you running away from something? What have you done?
Yeah.
Who did something illegal?
Who did you kill?
And so my ex-wife wasn't going to come with me. She was a choreographer. She still is. And I think because she wanted to keep the relationship, she decided to come to Pakistan a month later after I arrived. And she stayed on for a few years, about 8 years. But for me, it wasn't a difficult decision, to be honest, because I came to Pakistan. I liked what I saw. I didn't know what the work culture was going to be like. I never worked here. I never lived here. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any contacts at all.
What about family?
I do have my extended family, my relatives, but they had no connection with the industry at all, at all. And so, I think I came with 1,500 Aussie dollars, and got a little apartment on 26th Street, Tawheed Commercial. Here's trivia. I was renting out Fakhir's apartment.
Fakhir Alam?
No. Fakhir from Awaz.
Oh!
He didn't know me, obviously, and I'd known of him, but he never came to the first meeting. I only met him afterwards. So I was staying in his apartment. It was a small 2-bedroom apartment in Tawheed Commercial.
Wow. It's quite a road you've traveled since then. Let's go back to the questions. Let's see what we have. Henna's written, way to go proving those jerks wrong. I presume that's related to the story you mentioned with regard to the director. She also has written, Khalid was outstanding by his and Sabba's. Okay, I think I've repeated that. You both should do a comedy serial together.
We should.
Hello from Wellington. Wonderful interview, Tahir. Hi, Tahir. How are you doing? Any questions for Khalid? Baghi was outstanding. I think the actor, he makes you love or hate him according to the character. He's done his job perfectly. So yes, loved you in Baghi and hated you in Ishq Zahi Nazib. Was that the one where you wore that mooch? You had that big mooch.
No, that was La. So this is the one where I I got a lot of flack because there's a scene where I throw acid on the love of my life.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you find, I've asked this to other actors, but have you ever got people come up to you and think that you're your character?
Yeah. So after Baghi, I was at the mall, and so I was at the ATM and about to get done with my business at the ATM. I could see this woman from a distance just looking at me, and she kept walking towards me. You didn't get the feeling she's looking at me. She kept walking towards me, and as she came towards me, she didn't even come up to me. She sort of went in between me and the ATM and went on her own business. But when she passed me, you know what she did? She did this.
What does that mean?
Like, little camp.
Camp and because she thought you.
Baghi.
Yes, that was the character you played. This flamboyant. Yes.
Yeah, so I get that a lot, and I get "Aapne tezab kyun pheka?" Why did you throw the acid? I said, but it wasn't me; it's the character. Like, so I get that a lot. Yeah.
Oh, Annie, what character did Khalid play in Ishq Nazeeb? I can't.
I played the obsessive lover, Jahangir. Jahangir is the name of the character, and that's the character I played, and he goes to lengths to get his love.
So you were Sonia Hussein's cousin, according to Annie, yeah?
Correct.
And Hina is saying, yes, oh my God, he was horrible in that. That acid attack scene was terrible.
You see the acid attack scene. Yeah. I have people send me pictures of their family members looking at the acid attack scene in horror. So like, oh dear. There you go.
And someone's written, so you're honestly such an underrated actor.
Thank you. Please, George, send all of these messages to the production companies. And Mahrukh has just given me some green juice. What's in this? Do you want to say hello to George? She doesn't want to say hello to you, George.
Is she still in her yoga pants?
She's in her yoga attire. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
What's in this, by the way?
There's kale. There's,
kale.
The superfoods powder.
Superfoods powder. Ashwagandha. Moringa.
Carrot powder. Brain octane oil.
He wants to speak to you.
Oh my goodness.
Mahrukh, I just want to have a quick question. Quick question to you, Mahrukh, is in fact, obviously I want to know, because you guys met at the mall. You met at Atrium Mall. And was it like, was it like a drama? I mean, did your eyes lock across the food court and like a gravitational pull? Did you just gravitate towards Khalid?
No, I actually went to him because I wanted to speak to him about a feature in the magazine, and but because I was like such a big fan, and I was like, oh my God, I'm meeting Khalid Malik. I was I became nervous, but then when I'm nervous, like I don't know what to say, and I laugh and I like say weird things, and I'm like, hey, are you sitting alone? And he's like, yeah. And I said, okay, then I'll join you and I'll just give you company. And I don't know how, like, where this boldness came from, but like, I don't do that normally.
So you don't normally rock up to strange men in malls and ask to sit with them.
No. But I knew I was safe with Khalid because I was his fan and I felt like I knew him. Sorry?
Yeah. And okay, so now that you're no longer his fan, or you're probably you're still his number one fan, but what has been the difference that you've learned now that you're, his partner rather than his fan? What's the difference between the public Khalid and the private Khalid?
He's never fake. He is what he is.
Yeah. So there is no difference, you say?
No, I mean, of course, there's a difference between a private life and a public life, but if he's like genuinely happy to meet someone, you can see it, and he would never ever talk back bad about that person. Like he's just genuinely happy to be with that person. So I've seen him interact with strangers, and I've seen him interact with his friends and family. He's not fake. That's one thing. Yeah.
Well, I've certainly seen that. He is exactly who he is.
Yeah.
And why are you making him drink green juice? Are you trying to get him fit for a role? I know that you have, mashallah, you've transformed yourself in the last couple of years. I saw you on your Instagram. You have just like become this glowing, gorgeous babe.
Goddess.
So,
And you're now doing like health foods as well, aren't you?
yeah, well, I've recently graduated, so I'm an integrative nutrition health coach, and I feel like, how do you not like walk your talk, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like I'm gonna bring that in my house, and so when I make something, I give it to my husband, my kids, and I want them to have that healthy lifestyle. And the green juices, because I want like toxins to flush out of our system, because that gut and brain has like a strong connection. And so he does mental health and I do health coaching, and we just work together like that.
So you're actually a complete holistic package for if you does the life coaching and you do the body, the body and the mind. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, soon we'll have a retreat in our yard.
Exactly. Just one question. This is probably a good time to bring in this and see what your thoughts are on this, guys. So I just want to play this.
Okay.
And I was actually scared. I didn't think I would actually fall in love again, or forget love. I didn't think I'd actually find someone again. Because I'd already sort of married twice before, and I think there was this thing in my head, up gone.
Wow. So, what was it, Khalid, that Mahrukh brought to the table that you didn't think you were going to find again, that you did actually find with Mahrukh?
With Mahrukh, so I'll take it the first impression that I had of when we met at the Atrium Mall, and her authenticity, her authenticity when it came to being who she is, unapologetically, and I've learned a lot from that trait, and that stood out for me when she met me at the Atrium Mall for the very first time, and her warmth, and I don't think you've met her enough, but she has a charisma about her, which is why people are drawn to her. She, if we'll go somewhere and forget Khalid Malik, it's Mahrukh Abbasi in town. Let's say, let's speak to Mahrukh, because she has that, she radiates that aura and people are drawn to her.
And not only that, just she feels like an old friend. You can just talk to her very openly and honestly. There's no sort of, again, like yourself, Khalid, and perhaps that's what drew you both to each other, was the lack of artifice there, the lack of pretension, the lack of you are what you are on the tin.
But George, if you felt that from me, it's because we are old friends. Because all of us, we know you from George ka Pakistan, and so I can never get that image out of my head. For you, like, I feel like I was like in love with you since then, and so every time when I meet you, I feel like I know you.
Right. Okay. So, and presumably the same when you met Khalid and you felt you knew him from the radio, and like you knew him there. Oh, so let's see if there are any questions whilst we have Mahrukh. Sorry, I'm dominating with you with Mahrukh, but right. Green juice. Okay, here's a question. Kudos to you for having such a healthy diet during the quarantine. I'm sadly just finishing my creams and Cheetos after my yoga sessions. So, as a nutritionist,
enjoy yourself.
What would you say to Hina about Cheetos and Cheetos?
Those are the Netflix snacks. Why are you having them for breakfast?
Yeah, why are you having them at least this time? Well, actually, I don't know what time it is for Hina, but certainly it's not what you have after yoga.
Yeah, and also, you know, if you are having something, don't label it bad. I mean, then you're giving your gut that impression that this is bad. How is your gut going to process or digest that, you know? So
and there is something to be said. You know, we talk about some, you know, we feel something in our gut. The gut is a second brain
right.
to our body. And how does food impact what we are feeling and thinking in our gut?
Okay, so there's like a saying, like, you know, you are what you eat. It's exactly true. Like, you don't want to be cheap and fast. So stay away from fast food. You know, when that stuff, processed stuff, GMOs, everything
Mm,
artificial or hormone injected, stuff like
mm,
that, toxins and chemicals go into your body. They send out difficult and chaotic messages to your brain, and so then the brain sends out confusing messages to your body. So it's like a cycle, and then your body starts behaving differently. You know, you'll see diseases come up, you'll see mood swings come up, depression. Depression is a really big one because people don't link it with diet at all. You know, they
no.
just think it's like a mental issue that came from there somewhere, it's inherited. But actually, there are a lot of foods that are mood lifters. There are,
Mm.
if you improve your
Sugar?
diet, um so like okay, so if you have things like fruits,
Mm.
you'll naturally start you'll stop craving a lot of sweets, because your body, if it's craving a lot of sweets, it's not just
Ooh.
chocolate or cake. If you have that stuff like the processed sugar
Mm.
and you put that in your body, then your body behaves differently and it goes on this high and low. You'll have mood swings. You'll feel depressed even,
Yeah,
because it's a quick high, you know. But if
yeah.
you keep giving your body good fruits, seasonal fruits and berries,
Mm.
you'll actually reduce and decrease, eliminate your sugar cravings.
Yeah, because I think I'm a sugar junkie. I think I'm a sugar addict, actually.
You
And
should have more fruit. Your body is trying to tell you
but I
that
get
it
that
needs
craving.
sugar.
I try to be good during the day, and then at night, you know, at about 10 o'clock at night, there's this little devil inside me saying, just one, you know, bit of chocolate, just one bit of chocolate. And then I succumb, and then, you know, half a bar finishes.
No,
So
I mean,
perhaps
but so
if
there
I,
are different things also, George, you know, like sometimes there's like that emotional side, right?
yeah,
Sometimes all you need is a hug. I mean, if you're craving a lot of sweets, sometimes maybe you need to be heard, you need to talk to somebody, and you're finding comfort in food. And there are other times when your body's trying to tell you, I need sugar, but that's like, you know,
right.
from
So
fruits.
there's the emotional, and then there's the physiological,
Right.
physiological, and then you've got to determine which it needs to be
Yeah.
satiated.
Journal also.
Journal to write down what you're feeling and your emotions. Okay,
Yes.
and what you're
Free
eating.
consultation, George.
Yeah, free consultation. Guys, if anyone wants to get in touch with Khalid for the mind and Mahrukh for the body, we can certainly put your
Yes.
details on the broadcast at the end, if you'd
Thank
like to
you.
share your contact details. Because I've seen sort of like you've created these like platters and giveaways for
Yeah, man.
that will not, you know,
Yeah.
they're
I like
amazing.
doing that. I like creating stuff that's fun to eat, that's also good tasting. Who says healthy food has to taste bad? I just made halim, like gluten-free halim, you know? You just have to try out things.
So, going back to the clip I played, and Khalid said, you know, both you guys, you know, you just felt he drawn to this, you know, openness and goodness and this aura of Mahrukh. What do you think you guys both love? Because you both come from, you both have previous marriages, and and what, how are you able to forgo the baggage of that, whilst at the same time build a new relationship and prosper and flourish in a new relationship?
I think we go on.
Okay, I mean, I'd like to say that I was in therapy, and I feel that if you need therapy, that you should go for it. So that's one thing that really helped me when I was coming out of my first marriage.
Right. Yeah.
What
And
were you
what,
going to say?
learning the mistakes of the first marriage, or learning what
I wouldn't call them mistakes, George, because I feel like every incident, every experience is a learning experience, and I feel
Sure.
like I've learned so much from my first marriage. Not
Yeah.
just that, I've learned so much from my parents, from their divorce, from their second
Yeah.
or third marriages, and then us, like, from his previous marriage, from my previous marriage. It's not, I wouldn't call them mistakes. I feel like everything that
Right.
has happened up to this point was meant to happen. And what
Yeah.
I have to do is, if there's any baggage attached, if there's any story attached, to undo that. Now I can seek help for that, and I can do exercises. There are tools that you can use, just like journaling is one of them, actually. And then there's breath work, there's meditation. So you're here on earth, you are going to adapt to situations, you're going to grow, and you're going to continue growing. So I feel like all of those experiences, previous and present, are just here, and the way, I mean, it's helping us grow right now as well.
And I want to add to that. So I did come with my own baggage, especially from two relationships that didn't work very well. But it is only with Mahrukh that I realized that I was repeating old patterns, and so I also sought help, because it wasn't doing me any favors, and it wasn't doing us any favors. So it's okay if if you do have baggage, accept that you have baggage, and also then do something about it. Because
But
you must.
again, I find, breaking those patterns can be very difficult, because that's
They
what they
are.
are. They are those well-worn paths in our
Yeah.
neuro pathways that are they're motorways, and we're
Yeah.
having to create new motorways that are more positive and more constructive. How
Yeah.
do you go about breaking those habits?
I mean, seek help. I mean, if you must, therapy isn't a bad thing. It's considered, I don't know why, but taboo in some parts of our society, but it's not. Go to people that can help you, break this pattern, and it's by you see, your body has a wisdom, and your body's trying to tell you what's wrong with you, but we don't listen to our bodies. So it's about getting back into your bodies, getting centered, and getting aligned. But how does one get aligned? Well, journaling is one way, and also observing how it is that you speak to yourself during the day. Are you speaking to yourself nicely? Are you
Critically,
speaking to yourself
yeah.
harshly? Because the way that you speak to yourself, I guarantee, is the way that you speak to others, and the way that you speak into the world, and which is why the world is showing up to you the way that it is. So it all starts with your tongue. But seek help. Go
Well, no,
and we
it
did. I
starts
did.
with your tongue. It starts with your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
so when I have when I have a one-on-one client, I tell them, okay, what are we going to give me a negative thought, and they'll have a negative thought. I say, I want you to repeat that thought. So they'll repeat the thought. I'm a loser. I'm a loser. I'm a loser. I don't know anything. And I say, okay. Then after a while, I'll say, what color is your underwear? And they, what? And I was like, so it's you break the state, you break the pattern, and then I'll say, repeat the negative thought again, and they'll hesitate and then repeat the negative thought. So it's not just to prove that it can be broken. It's about you getting into that frame of mind and knowing that I can rewire my neurocircuitry. I can do this.
yeah. I read in an interview it was very sweet. You said, I hate to leave the house angry. I hate to leave the house where Mahrukh is angry with me, and I follow her from room to room like a puppy dog, just to make sure that I can sort of make it up with her. Now, why would Mahrukh ever be angry with you? Khalid?
Many reasons.
But I can't. What's wrong with it? How can you be
What's wrong
angry
with this guy?
with this gorgeous man?
Just share.
Mahrukh?
Just share. Why would I be angry?
Yeah, he drinks your juice.
So okay, let me tell you. Most of our fights are usually because of the kids, not because of us.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that. I think most of our fights are because of the kids.
So it would sometimes it would be if something that we don't agree on. It's usually something like that. Oh, what else is there?
I mean, little
Okay,
things.
yeah. Like he forgets a lot.
I
Yeah.
don't forget. I don't forget. You think I have a
I-
very.
Kieran has an issue with wet towels on beds. She gets really
Oh,
hurt.
don't
Yeah.
get me started on that.
I don't put wet towels on bed.
No, not anymore.
I hang my towel.
Now all your kids do.
Okay, well, guys, we're nearly at the end of our hour. But last question for Khalid.
Yeah.
Was you interviewed Amitabh Bachchan?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was amazing. That was a dream come true. Growing up, I watched most of his. Anyone that grew up in that era would be familiar with Amitabh films, and I was one of those kids that tried to copy his hairstyle. I'd copy the way that he walked. I'd copy the way that he talked as a kid, teenager.
Yeah.
And then, so the story is, I was in IFA. The IFA Awards were happened in Dubai in 2006, and I was sent by the radio station that I was working for in Sydney to cover the IFA, and the boss went along with me. And when I got to Dubai, Amitabh was ill then, but he was also the brand ambassador for IFA. And so we got word that we are taking a few journalists up to his room. And obviously, we put our hand up and we tried. And thankfully, we were one of few journalists to make it to his suite. And we went up there, and I went up there with my recorder and my mic and what have you. And it was finally my turn. I couldn't speak, George. I became timid all of a sudden. And, I started telling him, by the way, you shot a film. I don't know if you've seen this film, Suhag, with Shashi Kapoor. And you shot a helicopter scene in Singapore. My dad worked for the helicopter company that the helicopter that's used. He worked for that company, thinking that he might remember Dad. the Desi guy in Singapore. But I went along with the interview. I saw him interact with his grandchildren, and he's like a normal grandfather. The grandkids on him and so on. So I was. It was good. I mean, yes, he was there on show because he was speaking to journalists, but he was very good. We had our time. He didn't fuss. He answered the questions very eloquently. He's very articulate.
What did you ask
But I
him?
loved it. I can't remember now what I asked him. All I remember was saying was, "I'm a huge fan. I can't believe I'm seeing you." But I asked him about how he was feeling because he was very ill back then.
Yeah.
And his thoughts on cinema and those kinds of questions. I was also starting out my journalist sort of thing. So for me, I was just sort of still finding my way. But it's very good.
Okay, final question. This is for Mahrukh. What is Khalid's worst habit? According to him, it's he picks the skin on his nails.
Yes,
here we go.
I was just gonna say that.
I
Does
don't
he
think that's
still
the
do
worst
that?
habit, though.
Yeah, he does that.
Well,
It's better now.
It's much better. Okay. Another one I can tell you. Just
yeah,
one more.
so
Huh?
He asked for one, but we'll give him two.
give me two. Give me two.
So like I will always be the one replacing the toothpaste and the toilet paper and whatever is needed in the bathroom. Like if it's done, it's done. And
See, he
I
doesn't
waited
agree.
one time. I waited to see like how would he get a new toothpaste, And if
Why would you test
so,
someone like that?
I
And he
waited 2
didn't.
days.
Oh
No. He went and he got the toothpaste from the kids' bathroom.
Khalid! बहुत
That's
बुरी है,
funny.
बहुत
बहुत
very
बुरी
bad,
मुंह ही बहुत बुरी
बहुत बुरी है. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with me today
Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
Mahrukh Abbasi and Khalid Malik. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the very best. And if you want to get in touch with them, Khalid, could you share me your contact details, or if anyone wants to get in touch with you regarding your the coaching, and also for Mahrukh for the dietitian. That would be great. We can then share them on the Facebook and YouTube. Great. Okay.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Love you. Bye.
And so that's all we have time for. Thanks, guys, for watching this edition of At Home with George. We'll be back again tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.